All right, what is up guys? So in this video, I'm gonna be showing you exactly how you can tell whether or not you're actually allowed to sell a product, right? Because nobody ever teaches this, but it's one of the most catastrophic things that can ever possibly happen to a new Amazon seller is getting the dreaded "your listing has been suppressed" email from Amazon. And the reason they do this is because people don't do their due diligence about whether or not they're actually allowed to sell a new product before they actually get into it. So let's take an example of one that I've seen in the past screw people up. So like a lockpick set or like the neodymium magnets, like there's lots of different things you wouldn't really think about. And like if you see, for example, like this, if you like ran viral launch on this particular thing, you'd see that like these people are getting like some of them are ridiculous, right? Like $1 million, lots of monthly revenue. It looks reasonably good. The reviews are all very, very low. Right, and this has actually changed since I even first looked at this one. Let's look at like neodymium or whatever magnets, right? So this is actually a restricted category because kids like choke on it, or like there's the high likelihood that somebody could get hurt choking on it if they didn't know what they were doing. And so these numbers look all right, right? Some of them are very low with reasonable revenue. And if you didn't know that they were restricted, then it would be tough. So the way that you actually figure this out is, like, I would go into one of these products here. Like this is the guy who's ranking first, and I would take his ASIN. You can see the ASIN because it usually starts with like B0, but it's always up here in the URL after the detail page right here, /DP/ASIN, right? I would take this ASIN and I would come into Seller Central right here, and I would go to help. Right, and they've changed this around a lot recently. So if it doesn't look exactly like what you see right now, then you kind of have to figure out based on what I'm going to show you. So I just press contact us, selling on Amazon, right? And now you can choose any of these right here. Let's just choose request product page, and this is going to bring up the little thing on the left here, right? And so we're going to go here, and then we're going to go fulfilled by Amazon, other FBA issue. And now finally we can see the phone and email options. Phone is by far the best way to actually do things. But for hermits like me that prefer email, email is also another way. There used to be a chat, but Amazon is getting rid of this because everyone used chat and it probably overwhelmed them. So you could say something like, I would like to know if as a new would be restricted in any way to sell a product or to sell a similar product to the following ASIN. And then I would say if there are any restrictions or documentation required to sell a product like the above ASIN, please let me know in your response. Right, and I always do by email just for this particular thing. Normally I do the phone for other issues, but this one I like to have a paper trail just in case Amazon ever like acts a fool and shuts you down, and you say, well, they told me on the phone, and then you're kind of just like SOL at that point. So I do it like this, and then I look for their response. Right, the second way that you can do it, actually, and we're just going to quit out of this because it's not like a real thing. The second way you can do it is coming over to the inventory tab, and you can actually literally go to add a product, right? And so if you create a new product listing, let's say like, let's do CBD for dogs. And I'm in the wrong category here, so let's go to all departments. CBD for dogs, right? So we see that this is like a brand new category. People are making a friggin' fortune if they're doing this correctly. So all natural hemp oil for pets. Let's do hemp oil for pets. And I do both of these things, right? Pet supplies, relaxants. It's probably relaxants for dogs. Right, and sometimes you'll see that you have to actually upload additional documentation. And so if you have to upload additional documentation here, so like let's say you don't have to upload any additional documentation, you're able to actually save and finish your listing, right? and you also verify by doing what I showed before, where you're reaching out to customer support, then that's like the most help you can that's like the most comfort you can possibly get to actually verify. And we're gonna do this one more time. Contact us, right? Selling on Amazon. And then we're going to choose just any of these to open up the left menu, fulfillment by Amazon, other FBA issue, right? And we write it right here. And so if you do those two things, you're going to drastically minimize, the dreaded "your listing has been suppressed" email from Amazon, which is obviously catastrophic because you just invested, thousands of dollars into a product. You've done all this work, you've taken the pictures, everything, and then right when your product arrives, Amazon shuts you down, and that's the worst possible thing. And I know you might not be thinking that it'll happen to you, but if you're ever seriously going to invest in a product, do these two things, right? At least, at the very least, right? Do send the email, doing what I just said, showing the closest competitor, because it's just going to help you in the long term. And none of my students to date that I know about have ever gotten the "your listing is suppressed" email, because I generally, show them how to do things like checking for trademarks, checking for patents, checking for copyrights, and checking for restrictions. And Amazon also has, some documentation. If you go to restricted products on Amazon, they have the documentation here as well. I don't like reading through all of that. I mean, before I invest in a product, I obviously do read through it, but it's not like, fun reading by any means. But, alcohol, food and beverage, certain food and beverage, gambling and lottery, pesticides, sex. There are sex products on Amazon, but it's like there's very strict rules about it. Surveillance equipment, tobacco, a lot of obvious stuff, but it's definitely worth taking a look at before you invest money into a product on Amazon FBA. So that is how to avoid the dreaded "your listing has been suppressed" email that I hope none of you ever get. Do your due diligence, guys, because remember, this is a long-term business, and it takes time and effort to create a long-term sustainable business so you can be free from your 9 to 5, which is the point of all of this. So I hope you guys enjoyed that one, and let's get to the next.